Well, Prime Minister Modi has landed in New York after a successful Quad summit in Delaware. The Quad Leaders Summit took place on Saturday at the United States President Joe Biden's hometown of Wilmington. Several important decisions have been made at the summit, attended by the Prime Minister. In fact, it was not just attended by the Prime Minister, but all the Quad leaders in attendance, including Prime Minister of Anthony Albanese of Australia, as well as Prime Minister Fumio Kishida of Japan. And before we get you the details of the summit and why it's significant, take a look at how the Indian diaspora welcomed the Prime Minister in New York. Remember, he is scheduled to address the diaspora in just a few hours.
मुझे देखना था, मोदी जी को देख लिया, छू भी लिया, इससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं चाहिए था। बस देखना था, योगी जी को, मोदी जी को टच करना था, छूना था, देख।
कहाँ से आए हो आप?
मैं बोस्टन से आई हूँ और मुझे उनको बस छूना था। मेरा एक ही ड्रीम था, मैं मोदी जी को पास से टच कर लूँ, छू लूँ। भारत में मैं ओरिजिनली बिहार से बिलोंग करती हूँ, दिल्ली में सेटल्ड हूँ, लेकिन इधर उधर यूरोप और अमेरिका ही रही हूँ, मगर बस मोदी जी हैं, मेरे भगवान मिल गए, ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है।
ये हमारी ज़िंदगी में पहली बार है कि हम पीएम से मिले हैं। इससे पहले मैं बहुत छोटी थी, तब ताऊ देवीलाल से मिले थे, पर उसके बाद में देश के प्रधानमंत्री से पहली बार मिले, तो बहुत बहुत खुशी हुई है।
Prime Minister Modi was absolutely mind-blowing. And I mean, I was like, since I was born, that was the only Prime Minister I've known of India. From what I've heard, he's made India, my home country, the best possible country.
Now, the Quad also made some significant mentions of China without completely naming the country. The statement read, and I quote, as four leading maritime democracies in the Indo-Pacific, we unequivocally stand for the maintenance of peace and stability across this dynamic region as an indispensable element of global security and prosperity. It goes on to mention that we strongly oppose any destabilizing or unilateral actions that seek to change the status quo by force or coercion. We condemn recent illicit missile launches in the region that violate the UN Security Council resolutions and express serious concerns over the recent dangerous and aggressive actions in the maritime domain. We seek a region where no country dominates and no country is dominated, one where all countries are free from coercion and can exercise their agency to determine their futures. We are united in our commitment to upholding a stable and open international system with strong support for human rights, the principle of freedom, rule of law and democratic values. So it goes on to mention all of it in the joint statement that has come in from the Quad. In fact, the four-member also advocates for upholding a free and open, inclusive Indo-Pacific. The Prime Minister highlighted in his address during the Quad meeting and spoke about the emphasis on a rules-based international order, respect for sovereignty as well as territorial integrity. He said that Quad is here to stay, to assist, to partner and to complement.
हमारी बैठक ऐसे समय हो रही है जब विश्व तनावों और संघर्षों से घिरा हुआ है। ऐसे में साझा डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज के आधार पर क्वाड का मिलकर साथ चलना पूरी मानवता के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। हम किसी के खिलाफ नहीं हैं। हम सभी एक रूल्स बेस्ड इंटरनेशनल ऑर्डर, संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता के सम्मान और सभी मसलों के शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से हल निकालने का समर्थन करते हैं। फ्री, ओपन, इंक्लूसिव और प्रॉस्परस इंडो पैसिफिक हमारी साझा प्राथमिकता और साझा प्रतिबद्धता है। हमने मिलकर हेल्थ सिक्योरिटी, क्रिटिकल एंड इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज, क्लाइमेट चेंज, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग जैसे क्षेत्रों में कई सकारात्मक और समावेशी इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं। हमारा मैसेज साफ है, क्वाड इज हियर टू स्टे, टू असिस्ट, टू पार्टनर एंड टू कॉम्प्लीमेंट।
All right, let's go across to my colleague Shinjoy Chaudhary, who's joining us on the broadcast. On the key takeaways from the Quad meeting, there is a mention of China speaking about the aggression in the South China Sea. It also makes a mention of the cross-border terrorism. Very importantly, Shinjoy, mentioning 2611 as well as Pathankot.
Yes, territorial integrity is a very major issue. When there is talk about coercion, where is talk about free and open Indo-Pacific, the elephant in the room is really China. What is not mentioned at all is Chinese aggression. But it has to be said that whenever there is talk of coercion, territorial integrity, free and open Indo-Pacific, they are referring to Chinese aggression. Now, there have been problems that the Chinese have caused with, say, Japan, with South Korea, with the Philippines principally. The Scarborough Shoal is one example of that, with Vietnam. And territorial integrity, well, we should not forget Galwan. Cross-border terrorism naturally will play a role because cross-border terrorism is an issue India has been facing from 1989. This has been going on for about 50 years. Now, the fact that the Quad is here, the Quad will mention all these things is particularly important because America, India, Japan, and Australia constitute a fairly strong Quad. Apart from that, the fact that there will be closer ties between these countries, as you mentioned all of them, but something Times Now broke 3 days ago, was the fact that, one, all these coast guards will now work together. The Coast Guards of India officials will be on American Coast Guard ships, as with Australian and Japanese Coast Guards. This interoperability is a major issue. The other point is domain awareness. If there is, say, a tsunami, if there is a HADR issue, if there is a shipwreck, then it is particularly important, it has been decided, to inform not just the other Quad countries, but also all the other friendly countries in the area. So these will help not just the 4 Quad countries, but countries in the ASEAN, countries in the IOR. All these countries will benefit from these announcements that were made today.
Okay, all right. Big announcements being made. That was a packed day 1. Now, the next leg of the Prime Minister's visit to the United States, of course, being in New York, where a lot is expected as well. Shinjoy, take us through what's expected on day 2 and day 3 of the Prime Minister's visit.
Well, Prime Minister has been doing this more than one, since he's become, in these last 11 years. He will meet the local community. And there is a big effort by the local community in Long Island. And there will be a big function where he will be hosted by Indians in Long Island and New York and actually all of America. There are several million people of Indian origin in America, and America is very proud of them. India is very proud of them. Many of them will be there today, along with senior political officials from the U.S. Congress, including the Senate, House of Representatives, also government. So it will be a very big effort. Also, Prime Minister has a major speech. That speech, of course, is about the future of the world. And that speech is also going to be important because issues that relate to AI and all that could well come up in the speech. PM will have business meetings, and he is likely to meet many top business officials as well during those meetings. So as a result, you have to say that he will have 2 full days in New York, and the speech is something we have to wait for. And after that, of course, we have to keep in mind what he says at that community event. Beyond that, it's very important for investments in India. PM will meet people from big CEOs and chairmen of major organizations. And there he will have really one line for all of them at least, which is make in India, invest in India, make in India for the world. This is going to be the main point of the PM's meeting when he meets all these big CEOs and big chairmen of Fortune 500 countries.
Okay.